we've got, I mean, when Solid Energy was having a go at biofuels,
yeah,
they were saying the canola is so dear that it doesn't make it worth it. So I think
indeed, that's true.
they're trying to say they want to get the cheaper GE canola beer to make it worthwhile.
But you don't need that, you can grow mustard. Mustard's the same plant family, it's a brassica, and it's what we have done in Victoria, where some of us have grown mustard intentionally to crush it to make biofuel. Or in fact, you can run an engine on canola oil or mustard oil, or palm oil, or soy oil. They'll run on them if they're hot. You've got to start them on diesel cold and then run them on the oil, or you turn the oil into biofuel. You don't need GE canola to make biodiesel, that's rot. There's dozens of different plants you can use to get vegetable oil. Or go to your fish and chip shop and get their used deep fryer oil. That's what a lot of Australians do. They filter it and run it in a dual fuel system in a diesel car, and the car just wanders around the country as if it was running on diesel. It just smells like a fish and chip shop.
We're doing it here. We're doing it here.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, one company that supplies the fish and chip shop with the oil,
yeah,
is also collecting it and then running his water taxi in the Marlborough Sounds on this stuff. But just an anecdote. You will see canola growing on the sides of the road in New Zealand, because we've been growing canola for a bit. And up my way in Marlborough, up the way Hopi Valley, there's a very big area done for, what do they call themselves? Something rather gold, NZ Gold or something like that. And one day I saw their ute parked beside of Blenheim up in the dry hills there, and must be looking at the plant on the side. I've actually, along with Susie Lees from GE Free New Zealand, collected samples here and there in the South Island, right through to from Bluff, and then this Marlborough to Canterbury run, because it's dotted all along the road, because it leaks like a sieve out of these big trucks. It's a real small seed, and I was able to get some test strips in Australia for the Roundup Ready gene. I haven't got any for the BT one, and we didn't get any positives out of it, which is great. You know, in a way where I found it, you beggars, you know, but it's actually very good to find that in our testing we didn't get any. It doesn't mean it's empirical, that there's none, but I was really, really pleased to find it. I'm a little slant from that. Susie and others were conscious of some, as you all will have seen, Pioneer corn with the numbers on the, and Corson and other brands. Because Pioneer is huge in this GE industry, but people have told me that they are really adamant about keeping it out of New Zealand. But some of those same numbers, and that's what Susie had done, she looked at the patents and found that some of the numbers are just hybrids, you know, as they are, but some of them were also for GE, could be for GE. So if you just grow the hybrid, let's call it mammoth cabbage, but then mammoth cabbage patent would allow you to also do what they called minor variations, I think, which included genetic transformation. I'd hardly call it a minor variation, but you know, I might have worded slightly wrong, but it's about the level of them. We tested some corn, but we only had the test strips for the Roundup resistance. We didn't have it for the insect resistance, which would be more likely if they were doing that. And maybe corn doesn't have the same level of problem here that they haven't needed to anyway. I'm not sure. They'll be using those damn neonicotinoid chemicals in the seed coating, which is possibly dealing with some of the insect problems anyway, because they're systemic. Same sort of companies. But you know, that's, you know, it's not complete. It's just stuff we've done when we've been able to get access to it. It was a little bit expensive. Bob Phelps charged me $300 for those trips.
Yeah. So the kind of things you can do if you want to help. If you want to help GE stay out of New Zealand, or help New Zealand stay away from GE, even at the man in the street level or woman in the street level, when you buy your food from the supermarket, ask whether it's GE. That's all you have to do. Because there is a fair bit of GE food coming into New Zealand, so ask at the supermarket and get all your friends to do it, because if the supermarket gets the message that people are asking, it will go upstairs very, very quickly.
But will they
it doesn't matter ultimately, because what you're doing is you're telling the supermarkets that people in New Zealand care whether their food is GE or not.
Most of the tellers will have no idea. Something about the food labelling in New Zealand, we have a rough enough GE food labelling rules, the same as Australia, but they haven't been implemented properly. So when Being Supreme got turned over in 2003, that was the last time our government or its agencies have done monitoring and then enforcement of GE food labelling. So they pinged them at 4 or 5 grand, nearly put them under because they were a real small business at the time. It since grew, but not through declaring as GE free, and it's been sold on possibly twice. I think Sanitarium might have it now. But most of them are too scared to label that. But the labelling laws are not being enforced in this country. So both GE Free New Zealand and myself have been putting to the Minister. The food bill is coming up very soon, and that's why Nikki Kay came out with her improvements to it up at the Agriculture Field Days last week. She announced it, and I patted her on the back for it because she did a number of things that the community had been wanting and people were concerned about. But we haven't seen it in ink yet, and we need to see what some of the other stuff is and what the implications are. It might be just fine because it's taken out the level of bureaucracy around the home gardener and the very smallest commercial operators by the look of it. And GE is back, and there is something which was already in the current Food Act, something that can be considered as a food safety issue. Can be. It's not will be. Can be. It's still not ideal. However, if they came through with a different bill, like the EU one, over having to, if you want to grow something commercially or sell it, and it has to have been given the tick by the bureaucracy. I mean, it didn't say you couldn't do it, it just said it had to be approved by the EU regulator. It's putting all this more regulation there. Of course, the pressure is coming in, and we know that the Monsantos and others put a lot of pressure at the Codex level. Codex isn't all bad in my view, but it is, some of the people influencing it are, and that's the problem. We need to get different influences. I spent a bit of time with someone that had been working with Foreign Affairs and Trade. They'd done some Codex stuff, and some of the stuff she was telling me about was quite interesting in terms of some more positive stuff that had happened, but there's plenty of negative stuff too. So I sidetracked, but
we probably should wrap up.
We should, before we fall over. We've been, as we do. Last time it was way more. When he was here with Julie Newman, they both got the flu. We started in Dunedin, we finished in Whangerei, driving all the way.
Except a bit across the water.
Oh, that's right. multiple meetings on some days, and this time it's been limited since we arrived on Tuesday last week. Wednesday was at the Beekeepers Association, which was great, in Ashburton, their AGM, then up to Auckland and a little meeting there, and then Whangerei back here. So not a big audience to stay at the front of Bob, but thanks very much for being letting me drag you away from the beekeepers and carrying on and doing some other good work. Presented to the...
Thank you guys for coming out tonight. It's not a real warm day. We don't expect this sort of temperature in the middle of the night when we're out spotlighting. So thanks for coming along.
30 said they thought they were coming.
I can understand what might have happened. We've stayed very snugly warm somewhere and pretty much good on them. So I'm not sure what's happening with this videoing of it. It's probably a wee bit longer than you expected, but it's 2 hours of it. You know, maybe it can be edited.
So thanks again.
Thank you.